As I keep saying, the global warming debate, the push for climate action, the sort of posturing we've been seeing in Glasgow, the domestic argy-bargy we see every day, this climate caper is much more about politics than it is about science. Locally, it's politics. Nationally, it's politics. Globally, it's politics. And that's been borne out yet again, because despite making ourselves energy poor and making our electricity expensive in this country by pushing renewables for the last couple of decades and lowering our emissions by 20%, despite being on track to cut our emissions by at least 28%, probably more than 30% over the next 9 years, and despite now promising to reduce our emissions to net zero by 2050, well, despite all that, Australia's been slammed over its climate performance. The headlines on the ABC and other Green left media today reflected the fact Australia was listed dead last when it comes to policy. We ranked higher on other measures, but dead last on climate policy. Think about the idiocy of this. Australia reducing emissions quite dramatically and at a high cost, signed on to all the relevant agreements, meeting its targets, promising to get net zero by 2050, a country responsible for 1.3% of global emissions and reducing, placed below China, a country producing more than 27% of global emissions, a country increasing its emissions, a country that's refused to sign up to net zero by 2050, the world's biggest exploiter of coal, still building new coal plants, and it scores better than Australia. This is just typical of the nonsense you get in this debate. This is the sort of stuff that is used to shame Australia on the international stage, and then it's used by the ABC and the Twitter crowd to attack the coalition at home. It's tosh. The report is based on, this time, on the Climate Change Performance Index, which is put out by a small group of climate activist groups. This is a political document, not a fair analysis, as is obvious. When you look at one of the main groups behind it, Germanwatch, you see this sort of activism is about more than climate. Their mission statement says they focus on the politics and economics of the North and their worldwide consequences. The situation of marginalised people in the South is the starting point of their work. Fair income? China, for whom they make excuses, they should know, is in the North. And we, who they condemn, are the great southern land. They might want to rethink their geopolitical view. By the way, this goes to show that no matter what he promises, no matter how many electric cars he drives, no matter what he does on energy and climate, Scott Morrison will not satisfy these people. The only way to satisfy them is to be a Green left government or give them a Green left government. Then all is forgiven, because it's all about platitudes and politics, not practical outcomes. Morrison and the coalition have got a job on their hands not to give them what they want. But they need to succeed, or we'll all pay the price.